Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. Now, it's always a lot of fun out there when you see somebody out there have an absolute meltdown over the tiniest little thing and cause it to blow up in their faces. And that's exactly what's happened with the Mass Effect creator out there, because boys and girls, there was a new version of the game out there that a few people were out there criticizing. There was like just a few minor comments out there about people criticizing the game because guess what? They added pronouns to the new game, and color us shocked there after having an absolute meltdown over just a few people that had actually played the game and reviewed it properly. Well, now it's completely and totally blown up in his face, and the meltdown this guy has had has been absolutely glorious. It is hilarious, and now he is suffering the consequences of his own actions, and he's even gone back to delete his original post out there because of all of the backlash. Because yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all of you common sense folks out there are the dominant voice out there in the culture. You are the dominant voice out there in the video game industry, and you matter. And you make sure people like this with all of their agenda-driven nonsense get put in their place every single time, and it is a beautiful thing to see, boys and girls. So we're going to document this disastrous dumpster fire and get into all of the juicy details. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us in the comment section down below. Does it surprise you at all that this guy had an absolute meltdown and, of course, it blew up in his face? Or are you surprised that they're still trying to push this kind of nonsense in the modern era or in any way, shape, or form? Because it always ends up failing. Let us know what you think about all that in the comment section down below. Also, if you'd like to help support the channel, please check out the links in the description as well. All right, from bounding into comics and our dear sweet Spencer Bakuli, Mass Effect priority Hugalaz designer lashes out at critics of board games' progressive direction, writes them off as fucking man babies who can't handle looking at pronouns at a character sheet. Oh yes, boys and girls, a few comments about the pronouns, and this guy has an absolute meltdown. Boy, words really hurt, don't they? You poor thing. In the opinion of the Mass Effect the board game priority Helga's designer Eric Lang, any and all critics of his latest project, specifically progressive direction, no matter what the angle or reasoning, are nothing more than fragile fucking man babies. Color us shocked there. And that's weird to have a chick on the cover instead of the male version of Shepard that we all know. Huh. Maybe that should have been your first sign, boys and girls. Co-developed by Lang and Calvin Wong to Zaloon and published by Moodius Entertainment in partnership with BioWare and EA. Of course they signed off on this. The Mass Effect board game is officially described as a cooperative, story-driven game for 1 to 4 players with a branching narrative and multiple outcomes to ensure unique experiences with every playthrough. And of course, we don't really care about all of that, but you can have even Shepard be customizable. You can have all this kind of stuff go out there. Yada, 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 yada. Releasing to the public in October early 2024, upon the game's various materials is making it into the hands of players. It was soon discovered that the character sheets for the aforementioned quartet of Shepard allies all specifically highlighted their respective pronouns, therein noting that Garara uses he, him, Liara prefers she, they, Talia goes by she, her, and Rex prefers he, him. Meanwhile, both the male and female Shepard characters' sheets also list the hero's pronouns as he, him, and she, her, respectively. Now, normally, whatever, you see a lot of this kind of stuff nowadays all of the time. But one of the interesting things about this is as we get a little farther down in the article, you'll notice they left it out of the marketing. I wonder why. It's almost like they knew they would get backlash from the onset. They were trying to be sneaky and slip it in under the fans' noses so that way they would actually have decent initial sales. Now, of course, they would never be. I'm sure it was just an accident. I'm sure it was just an oversight in the marketing of this game, wasn't it? Interestingly enough, though the game's official trailer specifically highlights each squad mate's character sheet, these previous notably lack the published version's pronoun descriptor. I wonder why. It's almost like the marketing teams have found out that pushing this kind of stuff in the stuff, the released information will end up working out to very failed sales. Almost like all of the stuff that we've seen happen time and time again. But obviously, this also kind of goes on to confirms that only the marketing of things being woke will change, not the actual woke context in certain industries. Clearly, this was one of them. Upon this discovery, a number of critics took to social media to express their opposition to this change, many of them noting that this change was rather performative and unnecessary to the larger Mass Effect series. While a significantly tiny amount moved to leave the game a 1-star review on the noted tabletop publisher Howard Board Game Geek. And it was a response to these very few reviews, though BGG has since removed any and all reviews where players cited pronouns as the reason for their low score. A screenshot of the site's ratings breakdown at the time provided by Twitter user Taffy is Tough shows that the positive rankings far outweigh that of the 10 that were negative. 10 comments were negative, boys and girls. That was all it took. 10 out of who knows how many more out there. You got 14 good ones, 21 8 ones, 9 9 ones right there. 10 out of all of the rest of these positive reviews out here. 10 was all it took for this guy to have a meltdown. Boy, sensitive much, buddy? Maybe you should go out and touch some grass. I don't know. Maybe you haven't been bullied enough to actually know that that words out there can't harm you, that sticks and stones may break your bones, but words can never harm you? Huh. Weird how that doesn't seem to be a constant thing in society in any way, shape, or form. Now, does it? So Lang publicly lashed out. Taken to his personal Twitter account on October 21st in response to the handful of negative pronoun reviews left for the game on BGG, the game's co-designer employed as followers. I hate even talking about this on social media, but if you played Mass Effect, the board game, would you mind giving it a rating on BGG to offset the fucking man babies trying to tank the ratings with ones because they can't handle looking at pronouns on a character sheet? Oh, you poor thing. Even though the majority of the reviews were overwhelmingly positive, those 10 people out there who disagreed with the game and thought it was crap were enough for you to have to call out there and lash out to an entire fan base. Huh. I wonder how that's going to work out. And of course, he put it on his Blue Sky account, which is basically the weirdo version, alternate version of X out there ever since Elon Musk took over, you know, the place that nobody goes and gets no traction and nobody's actually at. But of course, he absolutely flipped out. Sharing a screenshot of the Mass Effect boards games rating prior to PGG's above-mentioned cleanup and declaring, I'm so proud of Mass Effect and so endlessly tired of the fucking man babies who try and take our BGG rating because we took 10 seconds to add pronouns to the squad mates. And yes, I realize that reacting to them gives them oxygen, but fuck off. I get to be mad about this stupid shit. Oh, yes, you do. I completely and totally agree with you. I fully support your right to free speech. I want you out there voicing all of your opinions. I want every thought that crosses your mind to be documented out there on social media so we can laugh, ridicule, make fun of you, and avoid you as a culture should, because you're an absolute sensitive, narcissistic psychopath who couldn't handle a little bit of pushback, a little bit of criticism. And now you're going to suffer the consequences of it. It is beautiful because, yes, he even said it gives them oxygen. Oh, yes. And oxygen did you give to fuel that fire? He goes on with his criticisms because it wasn't just this one post. No, he continues to double down. I can't imagine being upset with trying to make others feel welcome. I know exactly why the monoculture of free thinkers is upset with it, and I don't care. They can stay mad forever. Oh, can they? Oh, can we? Methinks the blowback is going to end up not so good for you, my friend. Not so good. In a second interaction with Loon in response to his co-designer explaining what was unaware or not that BGG had taken action against the pronouns ratings because none of the first have comments. I feel perfectly safe in assuming the motivations. fuck him. So even the censorship wasn't enough for him. Even though BGG totally capitulated to his cult requests, going, these words hurt. Bro, I can't handle these words on an internet screen, on a page out there that I can turn off and look away at any time from. No, those words hurt me so much. But I'm still going to assume it's just a bunch of bigots and not any legitimate criticism. Because that's who I am. That's who I assume. That's who I assume. A short time later, Lang would share an update of the screenshot of the game's BGG rating, which showed that since his initial post, over 40 more customers had left Mass Effect a negative review. Streisand effect, anyone, boys and girls? If this moron would have just shut his mouth and not said a damn thing, he would still have the overwhelmingly positive score on this website. But because he decided to attack people, because he decided to open his big woke spirit of the age filled mouth and let everybody know what he thought, well, guess what? Words have consequences, Eric. This is what you get for letting your guard down for 1 second and speaking in anger. Fuck me, I'm just tired. Oh, you poor perpetually online psychopath. These words on a screen that you can turn off and ignore at any time you want just wear you out. I know, the mental gymnastics that you people must go through to convince you guys yourselves you're right and that you're not the baddies in the story just has to be exhausting. So you know what? I empathize with you, Eric. I understand you. I see you, Eric. I see you, buddy. Now facing further backlash. And look at that right there. Like I said, 52 now. 52. 30. Remember he called out, please go leave it a good review. He got 30 compared to the 52 now he's got on negative scores. Once again, let's go back and point out that initial chart. Overwhelmingly positive. Overwhelmingly positive. And now, look what you've done to yourself, Eric. Good job. Now, in facing further backlash from players, Land would eventually delete his initial anger-fueled post, though curiously, not his follow-ups. He probably was too stupid to realize he had to go through and actually go out there and delete all of the rest of the follow-ups. He probably thought just deleting the first one could get rid of everything out there because, well, he's a moron and doesn't understand how X works. Explaining to X, deleting that stupid post because, well, you know why. Oh, that's right. Your corporate overlords went, what are you doing, dumbass? Why are you out there attacking fans? Now we've got a negative score where before you even said anything, we had a mostly positive score. Good job, dumbass. Go delete the post, idiot. I hate deleting posts that I stand behind, but fuck it. Twitter sucks so fucking much. Oh, you poor thing. You got to suffer the consequences of your actions. You know, my grandfather had a saying he used to repeat to me a lot as a kid. It's better to keep your mouth shut and let everyone think you're an idiot than open it and erase all doubt. And clearly Eric didn't hear that enough as growing up, if ever, because he decided to open his mouth and let everybody know that he's absolutely an idiot, that he's absolutely a spirit of the age, possessed, pussy, sensitive little bitch that can't handle any kind of criticism in any way, shape, or form, even though he was getting overwhelmingly a positive response. No, he had to go out there on social media, open his big fat mouth, and let everybody know exactly what he thought of any kind of negative criticism against him and his agenda-driven nonsense by forcing pronouns into a place that it's not necessary. So guess what, Eric? Guess what, buddy? Your corporate overlords, the people who signed your checks, saw the negative reaction that you had caused. You, sir, had decided to amplify. You Streisand affected yourself. You got a bunch of backlash for it, and now you're finding out, even though you cried out to your woke acolyte of the cult followers out there to support you and push back against all of those evil man babies out there, only to find out that yes, indeed, there is more of us than there is of you. The world rejects your ideology, and it always will. And go woke, go broke is proven true once again. Eric, you opened your mouth, and now you are suffering the consequences for it. After all, you will get exactly what you deserve. You did it to yourself.